Hello everyone, welcome back to DreamWave English. I'm Sophia, your host for today. I'm so happy you are here with me today. Let me ask you something. Do you ever feel like English is almost yours, but not completely? You already know many words, you understand the grammar rules, and you can have simple conversations. But when you try to speak with confidence, something feels missing. You want your English to sound natural, smooth, and powerful. But sometimes it feels like you are just one small step away. That's exactly what this lesson is about. Together, we're going to bridge that gap from good English to great English. Think of today as a master class where you'll not only review vocabulary or grammar, but also unlock the deeper skills of real communication. In this journey, you'll learn how to choose the right words at the right time, how to sound polite and professional when you need to, and how to express your ideas with elegance. By the end of this practice, you'll have tools that will make your English sound intelligent, articulate, and confident, just like in your own language. So, let's begin with an important truth. Many learners believe that advanced English means memorizing very difficult vocabulary or speaking in extremely formal grammar. Maybe you imagine long, complicated words or textbook-style sentences, but the reality is different. Advanced English is not about showing off. It is not about big words. True advanced English is the art of effortless communication. What does that mean? It means your speech feels smooth, natural, and clear. Your words connect like flowing water. You can adjust your tone depending on the situation, casual with friends, respectful in a meeting, polite when asking for something. This flexibility is what separates an advanced speaker from an intermediate one. Think of it like painting. A beginner painter only knows a few colors: red, blue, yellow. They can make a simple picture, but it looks flat. A master painter knows how to mix hundreds of shades. With just a few strokes, they can create depth, beauty, and emotion. Your words are your colors. With practice, you will learn how to mix them to create the exact effect you want. For example, imagine you're talking to a close friend. You might say, "I'm a bit tired today." That's natural and fine. But if you're writing an email to your manager after a long day of meetings, you might choose different words. "I'm feeling slightly fatigued after a busy schedule." The meaning is the same, but the second version sounds more professional and appropriate for the workplace. That ability to adapt is what makes you sound advanced. Let's practice this shift right now. I'll give you a simple sentence. Then I'll show you the advanced version. I want you to repeat the advanced version after me. Ready? The basic sentence is, "I don't like this idea." It's short and direct, but maybe too blunt. The advanced version is, "I'm not entirely convinced this is the best approach." Do you hear the difference? The second one is polite, diplomatic, and professional. It communicates the same feeling, but in a softer, smarter way. Let's repeat it together. "I'm not entirely convinced this is the best approach." Excellent. Let's do one more. The basic phrase is, "I don't know." Instead, an advanced speaker might say, "I'm not certain at the moment." This shows you are thinking about the question even if you don't have the answer right now. It makes you sound thoughtful instead of unprepared. Repeat it with me. "I'm not certain at the moment." Wonderful. These are small changes, but they have a big impact. Now, let's talk about flow. Advanced English is not just about single words. It's about how your sentences connect. Imagine listening to someone who only speaks in short, broken phrases. It feels robotic and unnatural. Native speakers naturally link their ideas with transitions like, "on the other hand," "as a result," or "that being said." These little connectors make their speech sound like music. For example, imagine a colleague says, "I think we should cancel the meeting." A blunt reply would be, "No, let's not cancel it." That closes the conversation. But a more advanced reply is, "I understand your point, but perhaps we could reschedule instead of canceling altogether." This version is smooth. It shows respect, offers a solution, and keeps the conversation alive. Repeat it after me. "I understand your point, but perhaps we could reschedule instead of canceling altogether." Great job. Can you feel how polite and collaborative that sounds? Another powerful skill is paraphrasing. This means expressing the same idea in different words. Why is this useful? First, it helps when you forget a word. Second, it prevents you from repeating the same phrase again and again. And third, it makes your speech sound dynamic and intelligent. Let's try. The basic sentence is, "She was very happy about the news." An advanced version could be, "She was absolutely delighted when she heard the news." Or, "The news filled her with an immense sense of joy." Now it's your turn. Think of your own version. How else could you say, "She was very happy about the news"? Take a moment. Excellent. Paraphrasing is also essential for listening. If someone says, "I'm worried we don't have enough time to finish this project," you could reply, "So, if I'm hearing you correctly, you're concerned we might miss the deadline." That shows you truly understand them and prevents confusion. Before we end this section, let's do a quick vocabulary upgrade drill. Remember, advanced English is not about using rare words. It's about choosing precise words that fit the context. Here's the simple word, big. Instead of big, you could say enormous, substantial, or considerable. The word small could become tiny, minute, or insignificant. The word help could become assist, support, or aid. Let's practice together. I'll give you a simple sentence, and I want you to repeat the advanced version. Simple, "Can you help me with this?" Advanced, "Could you assist me with this?" Your turn. Say it out loud. Perfect. Another one. "It's a big problem." Advanced, "It's a substantial problem." Fantastic. This kind of exercise trains your brain to reach for better words automatically. So, remember what we've covered in this first part. Advanced English is about effortless communication, not complicated vocabulary. Adapt your tone depending on the situation. Practice shifting from simple to advanced phrases. Use paraphrasing to sound dynamic and intelligent. Expand your vocabulary with precise alternatives. In the next part, we will go even deeper. You'll learn how to use tone, politeness strategies, and rhythm to make your English sound natural, confident, and truly advanced. In the last part, we learned that advanced English is not about using big words. It's about sounding smooth, natural, and confident. Now, let's go one step further. Today, we are going to focus on tone, politeness, and the music of your sentences. These are the secret ingredients that make people want to keep listening to you. First, let's talk about tone. Tone is not just what you say, but how you say it. In English-speaking cultures, tone can completely change the meaning of a sentence. For example, the words "close the window" are very clear, but they can sound rude or bossy if you say them directly. A more advanced and polite version would be, "Would you mind closing the window? Do you feel the difference?" The words are softer, more respectful, and more natural. Let's repeat it together. Would you mind closing the window? Excellent. This is one of the most powerful upgrades you can make in your English. Now, let's imagine you are in a meeting and you don't agree with a colleague's idea. The direct phrase, "You're wrong," is very strong. It can create conflict. Instead, advanced English speakers use diplomatic language. For example, "I see where you're coming from, but I have a slightly different perspective." Or, "That's an interesting point, but perhaps we could also consider another approach." These sentences show respect and introduce your opinion. Let's practice them slowly. Repeat after me. "I see where you're coming from, but I have a slightly different perspective." Now the second one, "That's an interesting point, but perhaps we could also consider another approach." Wonderful. When you use phrases like these, people will see you as thoughtful and professional. Another key factor is pace. Many learners believe that speaking quickly makes them sound fluent. But in reality, speaking too fast often makes you sound nervous and hard to understand. True fluency is not about speed. It's about clarity. Native speakers naturally pause to think. They use rhythm to make their message more engaging. Let's practice speaking at a natural pace together. Say this sentence with me, slowly and clearly. Speaking slowly gives my words more power. Now again, but a little faster, keeping it clear. Speaking slowly gives my words more power. Did you notice? The pause makes your speech easier to follow and more confident. Now let's work on thinking in English. One of the biggest challenges for learners is translating from their native language. If you translate in your head, your sentences become slow and unnatural. The solution is to practice creating an inner monologue in English. For example, while you're making coffee, think in English. "I'm pouring hot water over the coffee grounds. The smell is rich and inviting." Or when you're walking on the street, The street is crowded with people rushing to their destinations. At first, this might feel strange, but the more you do it, the more natural it becomes. Soon you will form sentences automatically without translation. Let's try a quick upgrade exercise. I'll give you a basic thought and we'll make it more descriptive. Basic. It's a nice day. Advanced. It's a pleasantly warm day with a soft breeze rustling the leaves in the trees. Repeat after me. It's a pleasantly warm day with a soft breeze rustling the leaves in the trees. Now another one. Basic. She is tired. Advanced. She looks completely drained, as if she's carrying the weight of a long day on her shoulders. Repeat it. She looks completely drained, as if she's carrying the weight of a long day on her shoulders. Amazing. This is how you paint pictures with your words. Next, let's look at idioms. Idioms are short, colorful expressions that native speakers use all the time. They don't mean exactly what the words say. For example, to break the ice does not mean breaking actual ice. It means starting a conversation to make people feel more relaxed. Let's practice a few together. Repeat after me. I told a light-hearted joke to break the ice at the start of the meeting. Another one. We might need to sweeten the deal before the client agrees. And one more. After weeks of research, they finally hit the nail on the head with their analysis. Excellent. Idioms make your English sound much more natural and authentic. But idioms are not just for memorization. You need to use them in real situations. Let's do a short role play. Imagine a friend says, I'm nervous about meeting the new team. You can reply, don't worry, I'll help break the ice. Or they say, the client won't accept our first offer. You reply, maybe we can sweeten the deal by adding extra support. See how idioms bring the conversation to life? Now let's focus on formality. Advanced speakers know how to switch between casual and formal English. With friends, it's natural to say, I'm happy to help. But in a formal email, you might write, I am pleased to assist you. Let's try another pair. Informal. We don't have enough time. Formal. We do not have sufficient time. Repeat both versions. Feel the difference. Mastering this switch will give you control in every situation. Another essential element is collocations. These are words that naturally go together. For example, we say, make a decision, not do a decision. We say heavy rain, not strong rain. Using correct collocations makes you sound more natural. Let's practice. Basic. She gave a speech. Advanced. She delivered a powerful speech. Basic. I'm very hungry. Advanced. I'm absolutely starving. Basic. The company made changes. Advanced. The company implemented significant changes. Repeat each one with me. Excellent. Finally, let's talk about softeners and hedging. These are small words that make your sentences sound polite and diplomatic. For example, instead of saying, this is wrong, you can say, I'm not sure this is entirely correct. Or instead of, you should do this, say, perhaps you might consider doing this. Let's practice. Direct. I can't help you with that. Softened. I'm afraid I won't be able to assist you with that at this time. Direct. You are late. Softened. It seems you've arrived a little later than expected. Wonderful. With these phrases, your English will sound not only advanced, but also kind and professional. So let's summarize what we learned in this part. Tone is just as important as words. Polite phrases make you sound respectful and advanced. Speaking slowly and clearly is better than speaking fast. Thinking in English helps you sound natural. Idioms, collocations, and formality upgrades make your speech authentic. Softeners and hedging protect your politeness. In the next part, we'll explore shadowing, vocabulary upgrades, and the power of practicing with rhythm and stress. These tools will train your ear, your mouth, and your confidence at the same time. In the last part, we talked about tone, politeness, and idioms. Now, let's train with something very powerful: shadowing, vocabulary upgrades, and rhythm. These techniques will improve not only your words, but also how your English sounds to others. Let's begin with shadowing. Shadowing is an exercise where you listen to a native speaker and repeat almost immediately. You copy their pronunciation, intonation, and rhythm. It's like tracing a picture to learn how the artist draws. This method trains your mouth muscles, your ear, and your memory at the same time. Let's try together. I'll say a short phrase, and I want you to repeat right after me. Match the speed, the tone, and the rise and fall of my voice. Ready? Over the past few years, I've realized that small adjustments in the way I speak can make a big difference. Now, your turn. Repeat it with the same rhythm. Excellent. Let's do another. By choosing my words carefully and pausing at the right moments, I can express my ideas more clearly. Repeat it. Perfect. This is how shadowing works. If you practice it every day, even 5 minutes, you will notice your English becoming smoother and more natural. Now, let's move on to adjectives and adverbs. Many learners overuse the word very. For example, very good, very bad, very fast. These are okay, but advanced English offers stronger words that sound more impressive. Instead of very good, say excellent, outstanding, or superb. Instead of very bad, say terrible, awful, or dreadful. Instead of very fast, say swift or rapid. Let's play a little game. I'll give you a simple sentence, and you replace very plus adjective with a stronger word. Basic. The view is very beautiful. Upgrade. The view is breathtaking. Say it with me. The view is breathtaking. Another one. Basic. He runs very fast. Upgrade. He runs incredibly swiftly. Repeat it. He runs incredibly swiftly. Excellent. By doing this often, you train your brain to choose more precise and advanced words automatically. Now let's talk about another key skill: listening deeply. Advanced fluency is not only about speaking, it's also about understanding. Native speakers don't just listen to words, they listen to tone, rhythm, and hidden meaning. For example, when someone says, "I guess that's fine," the words look positive, but the tone shows hesitation. If you don't catch that, you might misunderstand. So, practice active listening. Watch English movies, listen to podcasts, or pay attention to conversations. Notice how speakers pause, how they stress certain words, and how they use polite softeners. Write down phrases you like and practice them until they feel natural. Now, let's explore nuance, a small but powerful detail in communication. Nuance means the delicate choice of words that changes how your sentence feels. Take this example: direct. Stop talking. This sounds rude. Nuanced. Could we perhaps continue this conversation later? I need to focus right now. Do you feel how polite and respectful that sounds? It communicates the same idea but keeps the relationship positive. Let's practice another direct: I don't like this. Nuanced. It's not quite to my taste. Or, I'm not sure this is the right fit for me. Repeat them with me. It's not quite to my taste. I'm not sure this is the right fit for me. Wonderful. This kind of nuance will make you sound professional, considerate, and advanced. Another essential technique is extending conversations. Many learners answer questions with only one sentence, but advanced speakers add more details and often ask a follow-up question. This keeps the dialogue alive. For example, if someone asks, "How was your weekend?" a short answer is, "It was good." But that ends the conversation. An advanced answer is, "It was really relaxing, thanks. I went hiking with some friends, and the weather was perfect. How about you? Did you do anything fun?" See how it turns into a real conversation? Let's try one more. If someone asks, "Have you seen that new science fiction movie?" instead of just, "Yes," say, "Yes, I have. The story was gripping, though I found the ending a bit predictable. Have you watched it yet?" This skill is extremely useful for building friendships, networking, and professional discussions. Now, let's practice storytelling. Humans love stories. Stories are what keep people listening. A good story has 3 parts: a beginning to set the scene, a middle with the events, and an ending that leaves a feeling. Let me tell you a short one. Last Saturday, I went to a small cafe I had never visited before. As soon as I entered, the smell of fresh bread and coffee filled the air. I ordered a cappuccino, and the barista gave me the warmest smile. It turned out to be one of the best cups of coffee I've ever had. Now, your turn. Try to retell this story in your own words. Change the details if you like, but keep the beginning, middle, and end. This exercise helps you practice flow and description in English. Next, let's train with connectors. These are words like however, therefore, on the other hand, and as a result. They are like bridges that connect your ideas. Without them, your sentences feel broken. With them, your English feels smooth and logical. Let's test this. Basic. I studied hard. I passed the exam. Advanced. I studied hard, and as a result, I passed the exam. Repeat it. I studied hard, and as a result, I passed the exam. Another one. Basic. I wanted to go for a walk. It started raining. Advanced. I wanted to go for a walk. However, it started raining. Say it with me. I wanted to go for a walk. However, it started raining. Perfect. These connectors will make your speech flow like a story instead of a list of short sentences. Now, let's look at filler words. Many learners use like, or you know too much. These fillers make you sound less confident. Advanced speakers replace fillers with silence, or useful phrases like, let me think, well, or what I mean is, let's practice. Filler version. I think we should, wait until tomorrow. Advanced version. I think we should wait until tomorrow. Did you notice how the silence made it stronger? Let's repeat it. I think we should wait until tomorrow. Wonderful. Before we close this part, let's practice precise verbs. Instead of always using get or fix, you can use more exact words. For example, basic. We need to fix this problem. Advanced. We need to resolve this issue. Basic. I want to get better at cooking. Advanced. I want to improve my cooking skills. Basic. She's getting better at English. Advanced. She's enhancing her English skills day by day. Repeat these upgraded versions. They sound much sharper and professional. So, in this section, we learned shadowing to improve pronunciation and rhythm, replacing very with stronger words, listening for tone and nuance, extending conversations with details and questions, using storytelling to keep people engaged, adding connectors for smooth flow, replacing fillers with silence or transitional phrases, upgrading verbs for precision. In the next part, we'll explore politeness and interruptions, summarizing skills, and more advanced listening strategies to make you not just a speaker, but a truly engaging communicator. In the last part, we practiced shadowing, vocabulary upgrades, connectors, and storytelling. Now, let's continue by exploring 3 more advanced skills: interrupting politely, summarizing effectively, and upgrading your adjectives. These will help you participate in conversations with more confidence and control. Let's begin with interrupting politely. In many situations, especially meetings or group discussions, you may want to add your opinion. But if you interrupt directly with, "Wait, I want to say something," it can sound rude. advanced speakers know how to enter a conversation gracefully. Here are some polite interruption phrases. Sorry to interrupt, but may I add something here? If I could just jump in for a moment, I think that's an important point. Excuse me, may I share a quick thought? These phrases show respect for the current speaker while letting you join the conversation. Let's practice them slowly. Repeat after me. Sorry to interrupt, but may I add something here? Now the second one. If I could just jump in for a moment, I think that's an important point. And the third. Excuse me, may I share a quick thought? Excellent. With these, you can sound confident without sounding aggressive. Now, let's move to summarizing. Summarizing means expressing someone's long explanation in just one clear sentence. It's an important skill for advanced communication because it shows that you are listening carefully. For example, if your colleague says, "I've been working late every night this week. My boss keeps adding more tasks, and I barely sleep," you could summarize, "So, it sounds like you've been overloaded with work and feeling completely exhausted." This short response shows empathy and confirms understanding. Let's try another one. Imagine your friend says, "I studied for hours, but when I saw the exam, I got nervous and couldn't finish all the questions." You could reply, "So you felt prepared, but the pressure made it difficult to perform well." See how powerful this is? Summarizing shows respect, builds trust, and avoids misunderstandings. Now let's practice adjective and adverb upgrades. We talked earlier about replacing very. Now let's go deeper. Instead of adding very or really, advanced English speakers choose more precise, powerful words. Here are some examples. Very tired, exhausted, drained, worn out, very happy, delighted, thrilled, ecstatic, very scared, terrified, petrified, very smart, brilliant, genius. Let's turn this into a short exercise. I'll give you the basic version, then the advanced one. Repeat after me. Basic. She was very tired after work. Advanced. She was completely exhausted after work. Basic. They were very happy about the result. Advanced. They were absolutely thrilled about the result. Basic. I was very scared during the storm. Advanced. I was terrified during the storm. Excellent. Do you feel how much stronger and more expressive these words are? Now, let's practice with a little game. I'll give you a plain sentence, and I'll ask you to upgrade it in your mind before I give you an advanced option. Plain. The view was very beautiful. Think. Now here's the advanced version. The view was breathtaking. Plain. The book was very interesting. Upgrade. The book was fascinating. Plain. The test was very easy. Upgrade. The test was effortless. Fantastic. By practicing these upgrades, your English becomes richer and more impressive. Now, let's connect this with active listening. When someone speaks, don't just wait for your turn. Show them you are listening by using small words like, I see. That makes sense. Exactly. Right. And then ask a follow-up question. For example, friend, I've been practicing piano every day. You. That's great. What songs are you learning now? This transforms a simple answer into a real conversation. Next, let's talk about nuance in disagreement. We touched on this earlier, but let's go deeper. Disagreeing politely is one of the hallmarks of advanced fluency. Instead of saying, that's wrong, you could say, I think there might be another way to look at this. That's an interesting perspective. However, I see it slightly differently. I understand your point, though I'd like to add another idea. Let's repeat these together. I think there might be another way to look at this. That's an interesting perspective. However, I see it slightly differently. I understand your point, though I'd like to add another idea. Perfect. This kind of language makes you sound collaborative, not confrontational. Now, let's explore sentence stress. Stress means which words you emphasize. Stress can completely change the meaning of a sentence. For example, sentence, I didn't say she stole the money. Emphasize I didn't say she stole the money. Maybe someone else said it. Emphasize she, I didn't say she stole the money. Maybe someone else stole it. Emphasize money. I didn't say she stole the money. Maybe she stole something else. Isn't that amazing? Just changing stress changes meaning. This is why practicing rhythm and stress is so important. Let's try one more practice sentence. I didn't mean to hurt your feelings. Say it once, emphasizing I. Now say it, emphasizing hurt. Do you notice the difference in meaning? This skill will make your English much more expressive. Now, let's combine everything we learned in this part with a short dialogue practice. Imagine this situation. Colleague, I think we should change the entire project plan. You, that's an interesting perspective. However, I see it slightly differently. Could I just jump in and share my thoughts? Colleague, sure. You, from my point of view, the current plan is working well. To sum up, I think we only need small adjustments, not a full change. Notice how this combines polite interruption, nuanced disagreement, and summarizing. This is exactly how advanced communication works in real life. So, to summarize part 4, here are the key lessons. Interrupt politely with respectful phrases. Summarize long explanations into short, clear sentences. Replace very with stronger, precise adjectives. Use active listening to show engagement. Disagree politely with nuance. Practice stress and rhythm to change meaning and add expression. In the next part, we will continue with advanced descriptive language, intonation, and how to give more interesting, detailed answers. These will help you sound natural, engaging, and confident in every situation. In the last part, we practiced polite interruptions, summarizing, strong adjectives, and sentence stress. Now, let's move into another exciting area. Descriptive language, intonation, and giving detailed answers. These skills will help you paint pictures with your words and make your English truly come alive. Let's start with descriptive language. Basic English often gives only facts. Advanced English adds color and feeling. For example, the basic sentence is, I had dinner. It's correct but plain. An advanced version could be, I enjoyed a comforting bowl of homemade pasta topped with fresh basil and melted cheese. Do you see the difference? The second version creates an image in your mind. Let's try another one. Basic. It was raining. Advanced. The rain poured down in shimmering silver sheets, tapping a soft melody against the window. Repeat that with me. The rain poured down in shimmering silver sheets, tapping a soft melody against the window. Beautiful, isn't it? Descriptive English makes people want to keep listening. Now, let's practice. I'll give you a plain sentence and I want you to expand it. Ready? Plain. I went for a walk. Your advanced version might be, I strolled through the quiet streets, breathing in the crisp evening air. Another plain one. She laughed. Upgrade. She burst into a warm, genuine laugh that lit up her whole face. Excellent. These upgrades make your stories powerful and memorable. Next, let's focus on intonation. Intonation is the rise and fall of your voice. It's like the music of English. Without intonation, your speech sounds flat. With it, your speech sounds natural and full of emotion. For example, when asking a yes or no question, your voice usually rises at the end. Are you coming to the party? But for a statement, your voice falls. I'm coming to the party. Let's practice. Repeat the question with a rising tone. Would you like to join us for dinner? Now repeat the answer with a falling tone. I would love to join you for dinner. Great. Intonation helps your listener understand your meaning and your feeling. Now let's talk about giving detailed answers. Many learners reply with short sentences like, I'm fine, or it was good. But advanced speakers see every question as a chance to share more and keep the conversation going. For example, if someone asks, how are you? The basic reply is, I'm fine, thanks. An advanced reply is, I'm doing really well, thanks. I've just started working on a new project, and it's exciting but also challenging. Do you see how this creates more space for conversation? Let's practice another question. What did you do last weekend? Basic reply, I stayed home. Advanced reply, I stayed home and watched a few interesting documentaries. It was relaxing and I learned a lot about history. Your turn, think of your own detailed answer. Now, let's connect this with conversation balance. Good communication is not just about speaking. It's also about listening and asking follow-up questions. Imagine someone says, I went to Paris last month. Don't just say, oh, nice. Ask something like, that's wonderful. What was your favorite part of the trip? Or, I've always wanted to go. Did you try the local food? These questions show real interest and make the other person feel valued. Next, let's practice clarity in pronunciation. Advanced speakers don't try to pronounce every letter perfectly, but they aim for natural clarity. Let's shadow a short practice sentence together. Every word I speak carries meaning to the listener. Repeat slowly, then a little faster. Now another one. Using pauses gives my words the space they need. Clarity is not about speed, it's about rhythm and confidence. Another great tool is reformulating questions before answering. This means repeating the question in your own words. It helps you confirm understanding and gives you time to think. For example, question, how do you manage stress at work? Advanced reply, so you're asking about how I deal with stress at work. Well, I usually start by making a clear to-do list and then focusing on one task at a time. Let's try. Question, what's your favorite way to spend a holiday? You might reply, my favorite way to spend a holiday? That's a great question. For me, it's exploring a new city and trying local food. See how reformulating makes your answer smoother and more confident? Now, let's explore metaphors and analogies. These make your English creative and memorable. For example, instead of saying, learning English is difficult, you could say, learning English is like planting a garden. It takes time, patience, and care before it blooms. Let's create one together. Topic: improving public speaking. Analogy: improving public speaking is like training for a marathon. You build strength step by step, and over time, you gain endurance. Try thinking of your own analogy. This will give your speech power and imagination. Finally, let's talk about confidence. Even with great vocabulary and grammar, if you speak too quietly or with hesitation, your message loses strength. Confidence comes from practice and from accepting mistakes. Every advanced speaker you admire once made many mistakes. What made them advanced is that they kept practicing and never gave up. So, here's your practice challenge for today. When someone asks you a question in English, don't give the short answer. Give a longer one, add a detail, and ask a follow-up question. Try it with, how are you? Or, what did you do yesterday? The more you do this, the more natural it will feel. To summarize part 5, here's what we learned. Use descriptive language to paint pictures. Practice intonation for natural rhythm. Give detailed answers, not short ones. Balance conversation with follow-up questions. Focus on clarity and pauses in pronunciation. Reformulate questions to sound confident. Use metaphors and analogies to add creativity. Speak with confidence even if you make mistakes. In the next part, we will explore framing ideas, speculation, emotional language, and contrast structures. These skills will take your English to a professional, persuasive, and truly advanced level. In the last part, we practiced descriptive language, intonation, and detailed answers. Now, let's move to another advanced layer of communication: framing your ideas, speculation, emotional language, and contrast structures. These will help you sound more professional, persuasive, and engaging. Let's begin with framing ideas. Framing means introducing your point in a clear, structured way before giving details. Many learners jump straight into answers, but advanced speakers guide the listener by showing the direction first. For example, instead of saying, "I like online learning, it's flexible," an advanced version is, "There are several reasons I prefer online learning. First, it gives me flexibility with my schedule. Second, it allows me to access resources from anywhere. Finally, it helps me connect with teachers globally." Do you see the difference? The second version is organized, logical, and easy to follow. Let's practice with another topic: basic. "I think traveling is fun." Advanced. "Traveling is important to me for 3 main reasons. It broadens my perspective, it gives me new experiences, and it helps me meet people from different cultures." Repeat it with me. Traveling is important to me for 3 main reasons. It broadens my perspective, it gives me new experiences, and it helps me meet people from different cultures. Beautiful. When you frame your ideas this way, people will see you as thoughtful and articulate. Now, let's explore speculation expressing guesses or possibilities. This is very common in advanced English because in real life, we don't always have certain answers. Instead of always saying, "I don't know," you can say, "It could be that," perhaps the reason is, "I would imagine that," "It's likely that." For example, if someone asks, "Why is she late?" instead of just, "I don't know," you might say, "Perhaps she got stuck in traffic," or "It's possible that her meeting ran longer than expected." This makes you sound flexible and intelligent even when you're not sure. Let's try another. Question: "Why do you think online shopping is so popular?" Advanced reply: "It's likely that people enjoy the convenience. I would imagine they also appreciate the wider variety of products." Repeat it. "It's likely that people enjoy the convenience. I would imagine they also appreciate the wider variety of products." Excellent. Now, let's talk about emotional language. Facts are useful, but emotions connect with people. Advanced speakers use emotional words to create impact. For example, instead of saying, "The movie was good," you can say, "The movie was deeply moving. I felt inspired and uplifted after watching it." Another one. Instead of "I was surprised," say, "I was completely shocked and amazed. It took my breath away." Let's practice. Plain: "I was happy." Advanced: "I was absolutely overjoyed." Plain: "I was sad." Advanced: "I was heartbroken." Plain: "I was angry." Advanced: "I was furious." Do you feel the difference in power? Emotional words grab attention and create strong memories. Now let's look at contrast structures. These help you compare ideas and show balance. Advanced speakers use words like on the one hand, on the other hand, although, whereas, in contrast. For example, on the one hand, working from home saves time. On the other hand, it can feel isolating. Or, although the book was long, it was extremely engaging. Or, whereas my brother prefers action movies, I enjoy romantic comedies. Let's practice together. Repeat after me. On the one hand, learning English online is convenient. On the other hand, it requires self-discipline. Although the exam was difficult, I managed to pass. Whereas city life is fast-paced, the countryside is calm and peaceful. Fantastic. Contrast structures make your speech sound balanced and logical. Now, let's combine framing, speculation, emotion, and contrast into a sample answer. Imagine the question, what do you think the future of education will look like? A basic answer might be, it will be online. But an advanced answer is, I believe the future of education will evolve in several ways. First, online platforms will become more common as they offer flexibility and global access. At the same time, traditional schools will still play an important role in building social connections. It's likely that we'll see a hybrid model which combines both worlds. Personally, I find this possibility exciting because it could make education more inclusive and inspiring. Do you notice how this answer uses framing several ways? Speculation, it's likely, contrast, online versus traditional, and emotional language, exciting, inspiring? This is exactly the kind of communication that sounds advanced and professional. Now, let's practice clarifying and checking understanding. When you're not sure you understood, don't just say what. Instead, use advanced phrases. So, what you're saying is, if I understand correctly, you mean... Just to clarify, are you suggesting that, for example, if someone says, we might need to adjust the deadline because the client requested changes, you can reply, so if I understand correctly, we need more time due to the client's new requests. This shows respect and accuracy. Another key skill is signposting using phrases to guide listeners through your points. For example, to begin with, moving on to the next point. Finally, these are especially helpful when giving presentations or long answers. For example, to begin with, the company has seen strong growth. Moving on, we must focus on sustainability. Finally, our goal is to expand internationally. Let's repeat together. To begin with, moving on to the next point. Finally, beautiful. Signposting makes your English clear and professional. Before we close this part, let's practice with a mini role play. Question. Do you think technology has improved our lives? Advanced answer. That's a fascinating question. On the one hand, technology has made communication and information much easier to access. On the other hand, it has created challenges such as distraction and less face-to-face interaction. It's likely that the balance depends on how people use it. Personally, I feel both grateful and cautious about its influence. This answer combines everything we practiced: framing, contrast, speculation, and emotional words. So, to summarize part 6, frame your ideas with structure. Use speculation phrases to sound flexible. Add emotional language for impact. Use contrast structures for balance. Clarify understanding politely. Use signposting to guide listeners. In the next part, we will focus on persuasion, rhetorical questions, advanced connectors, and storytelling with impact. These will push your English to the level where people not only understand you, but also feel inspired by you. In the last part, we practiced framing ideas, speculation, emotional language, and contrast. Now, let's move into another exciting level: persuasion, rhetorical questions, advanced connectors, and impactful storytelling. These skills will make your English powerful and influential, not just correct. Let's begin with persuasion. Persuasion means convincing someone of your idea without sounding pushy. In English, persuasion often uses 3 techniques: logic, emotion, and credibility. Here's an example using logic. Based on recent research, students who practice daily for just 20 minutes improve their fluency faster than those who study once a week. Now, using emotion, imagine the confidence you'll feel when you can speak English smoothly in front of anyone. And using credibility, as someone who has taught English learners for years, I've seen how consistent practice transforms ability. See how these 3 methods work together? Let's practice with another example. Topic: exercising regularly. Logic: studies show that just 30 minutes of exercise a day reduces the risk of illness. Emotion: think about how energized and alive you'll feel after a simple workout. Credibility: doctors around the world recommend regular exercise for a healthier life. Now, repeat each sentence with me. Notice how persuasive they sound. Next, let's explore rhetorical questions. A rhetorical question is a question you don't expect an answer to. It's used to make people think. Advanced speakers often use these in presentations, conversations, and even casual discussions. For example, who doesn't want to feel confident when speaking English? Isn't it time we took control of our own learning? What better way to connect with people than through language? These questions invite agreement and reflection. Let's practice. Repeat after me. Who doesn't want to feel confident when speaking English? Isn't it time we took control of our own learning? What better way to connect with people than through language? Excellent. Try using rhetorical questions in your own conversations. You'll see how they grab attention. Now, let's work on advanced connectors. Earlier, we practiced simple ones like however and therefore. Advanced connectors make your speech smoother and more professional. Here are some examples. In addition, as a matter of fact, in other words, on top of that, at the same time, As a result of this, let's turn them into sentences. In addition, practicing daily builds strong habits. As a matter of fact, most successful learners use simple but consistent methods. In other words, it's not about studying more, but studying smart. On top of that, learning English opens doors to better jobs. At the same time, it requires patience and effort. As a result of this, progress becomes steady and reliable. Repeat each one slowly with me. These connectors will make your answers sound polished and advanced. Now let's dive into impactful storytelling. Humans remember stories more than facts. A good story doesn't need to be long. It needs to have feeling, detail, and a message. Here's a short story. When I first started learning Spanish, I felt nervous and embarrassed. I made mistakes every time I spoke. But one day, a shopkeeper smiled and patiently listened to me, even though my sentences were broken. That moment taught me that mistakes are part of the journey. From then on, I practiced without fear, and my skills grew much faster. This story has 3 elements: struggle, discovery, and lesson. These are what make it memorable. Let's practice with another one together. Topic: learning English online. Basic: I learned English online and it was good. Advanced storytelling. At first, I doubted online learning. I thought it would feel distant and boring. But then I discovered a community of learners from all over the world. We practiced together every day, and soon I realized I was improving faster than ever. The experience showed me that the right community makes all the difference. Now it's your turn. Think of your own story about learning something new. Make sure it includes 3 parts: the challenge, the turning point, and the lesson. Next, let's combine persuasion, rhetorical questions, connectors, and storytelling into one strong answer. Question: why should people learn English today? Advanced answer: why should people learn English today? Well, the answer is simple. In addition to being the global language of business, English is the key to opportunities around the world. As a matter of fact, most international companies require it. Imagine the freedom you'll feel when you can travel anywhere and communicate with confidence. On top of that, English gives you access to knowledge books, research, and ideas that shape our future. Doesn't everyone want those opportunities? From my own experience, learning English completely changed my career and opened doors I never thought possible. And that's why I believe everyone should make it part of their journey. Do you see how this answer uses everything? It starts with a rhetorical question, adds connectors, mixes logic with emotion, and ends with a personal story. That's advanced communication. Before we finish, let's practice emphasizing your message. Advanced speakers often repeat key ideas in different ways to make them memorable. For example, the most important thing is consistency. Consistency, not intensity, creates progress. In other words, studying for 15 minutes every day is more powerful than studying for 3 hours once a week. Notice how the repetition and rephrasing make the point unforgettable. Let's summarize part sept. Persuasion uses logic, emotion, and credibility. Rhetorical questions capture attention and invite agreement. Advanced connectors make your speech polished. Storytelling creates impact and memorability. Emphasis and repetition strengthen your message. In the next part, we will focus on debating skills, hypothetical language, cultural expressions, and advanced phrasal verbs. These will train you to handle complex discussions with ease and natural confidence. In the last part, we explored persuasion, rhetorical questions, connectors, and storytelling. Now, let's move forward into skills that will prepare you for complex discussions, debating, hypothetical language, cultural expressions, and advanced phrasal verbs. Let's start with debating skills. Debating doesn't always mean arguing. It means expressing your opinion clearly while respecting others. Advanced English speakers use polite but firm structures. For example, I take your point, but I see it differently. While I agree with you on some aspects, I'd like to challenge the idea that that's a valid perspective, although I would argue that let's practice them together. Repeat, I take your point, but I see it differently. Now, while I agree with you on some aspects, I'd like to challenge the idea that, and that's a valid perspective, although I would argue that excellent. With these, you can join debates in school, work, or casual conversations without sounding rude. Now let's focus on hypothetical language. Hypotheticals are what-if situations, and they are very common in advanced discussions. We use words like if, would, might, and could. For example, if I were in your position, I would try a different strategy. If we invested more in technology, we could save time and money. If she had studied harder, she might have passed the exam. Let's practice. Repeat after me. If I were in your position, I would try a different strategy. If we invested more in technology, we could save time and money. If she had studied harder, she might have passed the exam. Perfect. Hypothetical language allows you to discuss possibilities, give advice, and imagine alternative outcomes. Now, let's add cultural expressions. These are phrases that reflect values and habits in English-speaking countries. Using them makes you sound natural and connected to culture. Here are some examples. The ball is in your court. It's your turn to decide. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. Don't risk everything on one choice. It's not rocket science. It's not very difficult. You can't judge a book by its cover. Don't decide based only on appearance. Let's practice with sentences. It's your choice now. The ball is in your court. I'm investing carefully. I don't want to put all my eggs in one basket. Relax. It's not rocket science. You'll learn it quickly. She may seem quiet, but you can't judge a book by its cover. Great work. Cultural expressions like these make your speech lively and authentic. Now, let's level up with advanced phrasal verbs. Phrasal verbs are combinations of verbs and particles, like up, out, off, in that have special meanings. Native speakers use them constantly. Here are some useful advanced ones. Bring up to mention a topic. She brought up an interesting question during the meeting. Point out to highlight. I'd like to point out that we need more time. Carry out to perform. The scientists carried out several experiments. Look into, to investigate. We will look into the issue further. Come across, to find by chance. I came across an old photo in my drawer. Put off, to delay. They decided to put off the event until next month. Repeat each one with me in its example sentence. She brought up an interesting question during the meeting. I'd like to point out that we need more time. The scientists carried out several experiments. We will look into the issue further. I came across an old photo in my drawer. They decided to put off the event until next month. Excellent. These phrasal verbs will make you sound much more natural. Now let's combine all these skills, debating, hypotheticals, cultural expressions, and phrasal verbs into one advanced answer. Question: should schools focus more on technology or traditional teaching? Advanced answer: that's a fascinating question. While I agree that technology is essential, I'd like to point out that traditional teaching still plays an important role in building social and critical thinking skills. If schools were to rely only on technology, they might lose the personal connection between teacher and student. On the other hand, if they completely ignored technology, they would fall behind the modern world. As the saying goes, don't put all your eggs in one basket. A balanced approach is the best. If I were designing the system, I would combine both methods to get the strongest results. Notice how this answer uses polite debate, a cultural expression, a phrasal verb, and a hypothetical. This is what makes English sound advanced. Now let's practice a mini debate role play. Statement: social media does more harm than good. Reply, one agreeing politely. I see your point, and I would argue that social media often causes stress and comparison, which can harm mental health. Reply, two disagreeing politely. That's a valid perspective, but I'd like to challenge the idea that it's mostly harmful. In fact, it allows people to stay connected and share ideas globally. Both replies sound advanced because they use structured, polite language. Before we finish, let's try a fluency challenge. I'll give you a sentence and you extend it with debate, hypotheticals, or expressions. Starter: education is important. Advanced: education is important because it shapes the future of individuals and societies. If governments invested more in education, we could see stronger economies and healthier communities. On top of that, education gives people confidence and independence. Now your turn. Take a basic idea like exercise is good and expand it with reasons, possibilities, and maybe an expression like it's not rocket science. To summarize part 8, debating skills help you disagree politely. Hypothetical language allows you to discuss possibilities. Cultural expressions connect you to native style. Advanced phrasal verbs make your speech natural. Combining these creates powerful, persuasive communication. In the next part, we'll explore formal versus informal switching, idiomatic precision, emotional storytelling, and advanced listening responses, the skills that bring your English to near native fluency. In the last part, we worked on debating, hypothetical language, cultural expressions, and advanced phrasal verbs. Now, let's go deeper into 4 powerful skills: switching between formal and informal English, using idioms with precision, telling emotional stories, and responding actively as a listener. These are the final touches that make your English shine. Let's begin with formal versus informal switching. One mark of advanced fluency is being able to adjust your language depending on the situation. With friends, you might use casual English. In the workplace, you switch to formal English. For example, informal: "Can you give me a hand with this?" Formal: "Could you assist me with this task?" Informal: "I'll get back to you soon." Formal: "I will respond to your request shortly." Informal: "That's not a big deal." Formal: "That will not be an issue." Let's practice both styles. Repeat after me. Can you give me a hand with this? Could you assist me with this task? I'll get back to you soon. I will respond to your request shortly. That's not a big deal. That will not be an issue. Excellent. The key is flexibility. Advanced speakers know how to adapt instantly. Now, let's move to idiomatic precision. Idioms are powerful, but they must be used in the right context. Let's practice a few and notice when they're appropriate. Hit the ground running. Start something quickly and with energy. Example: on my first day at work, I wanted to hit the ground running. Burn the midnight oil. Work late into the night. Example: she burned the midnight oil to finish her project. Throw in the towel. Give up. Example: after many failed attempts, he finally threw in the towel. Bite the bullet. Do something difficult or unpleasant. Example: I didn't want to apologize, but I had to bite the bullet. Repeat these sentences with me. Notice the vivid imagery. They make your English sound colorful and memorable. Next, let's practice emotional storytelling. Emotional stories capture attention because they connect to the heart. A good emotional story often includes vulnerability, growth, and hope. Here's a short one. When I first moved abroad, I felt completely lost. I didn't understand the language, and every simple task felt impossible, even ordering food. One night, after struggling in a restaurant, a stranger kindly helped me translate my order. That small act of kindness gave me hope. It reminded me that even in a foreign place, I wasn't alone. From then on, I felt more confident to keep learning. This story works because it shares struggle, emotion, and resolution. Now let's create another one together. Topic: failing an exam. Basic: I failed my exam. Emotional storytelling: I'll never forget the day I failed my exam. I walked out of the classroom with my head down, feeling crushed and embarrassed. But after a few days, I realized that failure wasn't the end. It was the beginning of a stronger effort. That failure pushed me to study harder, and the next time, I passed with flying colors. Your turn. Think of a personal story where you faced a challenge, felt an emotion, and learned a lesson. Use feelings and details. This practice will make you a powerful communicator. Now, let's talk about advanced listening responses. Listening is not passive. In advanced English, listeners respond actively to show engagement. Instead of just nodding, you can use short phrases like, "That must have been difficult. I can imagine how exciting that was. So what happened next? That's impressive." Let's practice in a mini dialogue. Friend, I stayed up all night working on my project. You, wow, that must have been exhausting. Did you manage to finish on time? Friend, I finally got the promotion at work. You, congratulations, that's impressive. How are you feeling about it? Friend, I traveled alone for the first time. You, that's amazing. I can imagine how exciting that must have been. Where did you go? These responses make conversations richer and show real empathy. Let's combine all the skills, formal divided by informal, idioms, emotional storytelling, and listening responses into one advanced example. Question: how do you deal with challenges? Advanced answer: well, it depends on the situation. In formal settings, I try to remain professional and say something like, "I will address this issue promptly." But with friends, I might just say, "Don't worry, it's no big deal." Of course, challenges are tough. Sometimes you have to bite the bullet and keep moving. I remember a time when I failed a major test. I felt devastated, but that failure taught me resilience. As my teacher once told me, setbacks are just setups for comebacks. That experience shaped me, and now when challenges come, I try to hit the ground running instead of throwing in the towel. What about you? How do you usually deal with difficulties? Do you notice how this answer switches between formal and informal, uses idioms, shares an emotional story, and ends with a question for the listener? This is master level communication. Before we end this part, let's do a fluency exercise. Take a simple topic like learning English. Say it in formal English. Acquiring proficiency in English provides valuable opportunities. Then switch to informal. Learning English opens lots of doors. Practice switching back and forth to build flexibility. To summarize part NOV, formal versus informal switching makes you adaptable. Idiomatic precision makes your English vivid. Emotional storytelling connects with hearts. Active listening responses create empathy and depth. In the next and final part, we will bring everything together. We'll focus on fluency flow, confidence mindset, presentation style, and lifelong learning habits, so you can continue growing beyond this course and reach near native fluency. In the last part, we explored formal and informal switching, idiomatic precision, emotional storytelling, and active listening. Now, as we come to the final section, let's put everything together. We'll focus on fluency flow, confidence mindset, presentation skills, and lifelong learning habits. These will not only help you sound advanced today, but also ensure you keep improving tomorrow. Let's begin with fluency flow. Fluency isn't about speaking without mistakes, it's about speaking smoothly without long pauses or hesitation. Native speakers make mistakes too, but they keep the flow going. One way to practice is using linking phrases that give you time to think while keeping the conversation alive. Here are some examples. That's a great question. Let me think. Well, from my point of view, actually what I believe is, it seems to me that let's practice. Repeat after me. That's a great question. Let me think. Well, from my point of view, actually, what I believe is, it seems to me that these phrases are like bridges. They buy you time and make your speech sound natural, even while your brain is searching for the next idea. Now, let's talk about the confidence mindset. Many learners feel nervous. What if I make mistakes? The truth is, mistakes are not signs of weakness. They are steps toward fluency. Every confident speaker you admire once struggled too. Here's a mindset shift. Instead of thinking, I must speak perfectly, tell yourself, I am learning, and every conversation makes me stronger. Confidence also comes from body language. When you speak English, sit or stand tall, look at your listener, and smile. These physical actions send signals to your brain that you are capable and calm. Let's do a quick exercise. Imagine introducing yourself in front of a group. Say out loud, "Hello everyone, my name is your name, and I'm really excited to share my ideas with you today." Say it with a smile and strong posture. Feel how confidence grows with practice. Next, let's develop presentation style. Presentations are not only for classrooms or offices, they are also for everyday life when you explain an idea clearly. Advanced speakers use 3 techniques: signposting, pausing, and emphasis. Signposting means guiding the listener. First, let's look at the problem. Second, we'll consider the solutions. Finally, I'll share my conclusion. Pausing means stopping briefly to let important words sink in. For example, consistency is the secret to fluency. Emphasis means stressing keywords with your voice. We don't need perfect English. We need confident English. Let's practice together. Say this mini presentation. First, learning English opens doors to global opportunities. Second, it helps us connect with people from different cultures. And finally, it builds our confidence in expressing who we are. Now repeat it with pauses and emphasis. Excellent. Another presentation trick is storytelling. Imagine you are giving a talk about persistence. You could say, "There was a time I almost gave up learning English. I felt stuck. But then I changed my routine just 15 minutes a day. Slowly, I improved, and now I can share this story with you. That small change made a huge difference. Stories make presentations memorable. People may forget facts, but they will remember how you made them feel. Now, let's move to lifelong learning habits. Mastery doesn't come from one lesson. It comes from continuous practice. Here are some habits to adopt. Daily input. Listen to English every day. Podcasts, audiobooks, or even short videos. Consistency is more powerful than intensity. Daily output. Speak or write a little each day. Even 5 minutes of practice builds momentum. Reflection. At the end of each day, ask yourself, what new word or phrase did I learn today? Keep a small notebook or a digital note to collect them. Imitation. Copy native speakers. Shadow movies. Repeat dialogues or mimic your favorite presenters. This improves rhythm and pronunciation. Community. Find other learners or native speakers. Join online groups, study partners, or language exchanges. Learning is faster when you share it with others. Celebrate progress. Don't wait until you are perfect to feel proud. Celebrate small wins like ordering food in English, finishing a podcast, or writing a short paragraph. These habits create a cycle. Input, output, reflection, and motivation. That's how fluency grows over time. Now let's tie everything together with one final role-play answer. Question: how has learning English changed your life? Advanced answer: learning English has transformed my life in many ways. First, it opened opportunities I never imagined. I was able to connect with people from different countries and cultures. Second, it gave me confidence. I no longer feel nervous when speaking with foreigners. Finally, it gave me access to knowledge, from books to podcasts, that shaped my career and personal growth. Of course, the journey hasn't been easy. There were times I wanted to throw in the towel, but I realized that consistency is the real secret. 15 minutes a day, every day, was enough to build momentum. And now, when I look back, I feel proud. If I can do it, anyone can. Isn't that amazing? This answer shows everything: framing, storytelling, idioms, emotional words, connectors, and confidence. As we close this journey, remember, fluency is not a destination, it's a habit. Every conversation, every mistake, every practice session brings you closer. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to keep going. So, let me leave you with one final message. English is not just a language, it's a bridge. A bridge to opportunities, friendships, and dreams. Cross that bridge one step at a time, and soon you'll look back and realize how far you've come. Thank you so much for spending this time learning with me. Keep practicing every day. even if it's just for a few minutes. Your effort will bring big results over time. And most importantly, enjoy the journey. You are not just learning English, you are becoming an English speaker. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the bell icon so you don't miss future lessons. I'll see you in the next practice. Keep believing in yourself and keep speaking with confidence.